Hey guys, let's talk SLO for just a second. So, in the beginning of the SLO process, we were told that we could write SLOs that should reflect the big ideas from each course, and that it could kind of be whatever because we were collecting data. Okay, so now we've collected data for a while, and we have a little trouble answering questions with it because we're just collecting data. We're not asking a question and then collecting data. Does that make sense? So now we're instead going to shift to having a question that we can answer. So that idea is instead of making all the little course level outcomes, right, and then mapping them to, like, I don't know, instead what we're going to do is we're going to keep the kind of broad ideas of the course level outcomes you have. We're probably going to have to revise some of them. But what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, these are the institutional questions we intend to ask. And now from those questions, you are going to think about a way that your course addresses those things. Okay? So here's my picture of a course. So this little rectangle down here represents a 3-unit course. That 3-unit course is inspired by 3 of our institutional level outcomes. So you get to pick which 3 it's inspired by, but you should pick the same number as there are units. So I'm going to pick, say, the first one, the third one, and the second one. Now, I got to pick which ones those were, but there were some rules. 1, I had to pick 1 for each unit, and 2, I wanted to write a course level outcome to address that institutional outcome. So let me show you our institutional outcomes. So I'm happy to share this little document with you, or you can pull a screen grab off of this if you want. But these are kind of our best practices for SLOs. So we're assessing every 2 years. We're already actually doing that. Most of you, lots of you are assessing more often, and that's cool because we'll get more data. But now we're going to actually answer a question with that data. We make ourselves available during finals week to assist, whatever. This is one of the newer things. We started trying to do this last year, but we haven't had a curriculum system to implement this yet. So the number of CSLOs should match the unit count. We're going to see some revisions for this. This is the thing I'm talking about. Each CSLO should assess one and only one of the ISLOs. And the ISLOs are 6 C's: culture, calculation, communication, knowledge, critical thinking, and career readiness, or whatever. I think those are kind of the 6 broad categories of things that we address in all of our courses. If you think there's another one that absolutely needs to be added, I would love to talk about it so long as you can make it start with C. If you can't make it start with C, we're not going to talk about it. I already used up K. Sorry. That's how it is. Each of the 6 C's needs to get assessed by at most 1 CSLO. That means you can't pick a CSLO that assesses, say, calculation and culture. Like, yeah, those seem reasonable. The only 2 that people sometimes seem to want to overlap is they want to overlap calculation and critical thinking, or they want to overlap knowledge and critical thinking. I think we can do better. And so I have some suggestions for that I'll get to in a second. We're already doing 3-point scales. Everybody's doing 3-point scales. We've all, that ship has sailed. Everyone's doing great with that. Really appreciated on it. All the assessments on the courses assess all the CSLOs. Everybody's already doing this. Only other schools don't do this. And then this last thing is one that I just want to reiterate. You know, if you don't know whether a student met the CSLO because they didn't show up to the final, just mark NA. Doesn't matter whether they fail the course or not. If you didn't get to a chance to assess it, write I didn't assess it. That's all it is. So for the mappings, which is really part of what we have to redo because of the talk you just heard from Mike about curriculum, the CSLO mapping was for a long time hard because we were essentially told that these CSLO level outcomes, they could just kind of be whatever. You could make them up. And then there were 16 of these things, and you had to pick and choose which one you were going for. So in the spirit of making things easy, here's CSLO language. And I'm going to email this out to you a number of times during the semester. Right now, you can't get started on this really because, well, frankly, the curriculum system doesn't exist yet. Once the curriculum system exists, then every time you launch a course proposal, we're going to try to help you get the SLOs to meet these linguistic formats. This is to make your life easier, not harder. So if you don't like this, don't feel like you have to use it. If you have a better way to start a statement about culture and community, please, feel free to wordsmith your outcomes as long as it's clear which one it's addressing. I don't mind. I don't think anyone else will mind. I'm just providing these as templates for everyone to be able to fill in the blank. So we already have built-in language for CSLOs to begin with. So upon satisfactory completion of the course, students will be prepared to blah stuff, right? And so I'd suggest that language for each of the 6 C's start with. So the culture and community 6C should start with, this whole thing, right? So upon satisfactory completion of the course, students will be prepared to integrate into the culture and community and then insert course-specific language here. Most of mine are out of the computer science CSLOs because I was rewriting some computer science courses at the time. So my example is they should integrate into the community, responding professionally to ethical issues, blah, blah, blah. I think that language, right, can be modified to meet whatever course you're teaching that you feel like has some major component of the course that addresses culture and community. And then what we can do after we've switched everything to this is we can ask, okay, how well are students doing on the culture and community institution level outcomes? If students are doing well at that, then we don't have a need we need to address. If we find that students aren't doing as well as we would like on culture and community, then we can maybe focus some community building activities, or we can look at which courses students are having trouble in and maybe address some issues there. One of the ones that I personally look forward to seeing is I want to see about this calculation level outcome. I want to see how that works in science courses. Because I teach math. I teach students to calculate things-ish. I don't actually teach students to calculate things, mostly. And if they're not doing a good job calculating in their chemistry class because Colin uses Excel and I use Google Sheets, or I don't use anything at all to manipulate numbers, like I teach them to use a TI calculator and Colin doesn't even know how to turn those things on. Yeah, we have an issue. We can sort that out. Like if we see that there's a deficiency, by all means, let's see if we can figure it out. But until we get these, until we get the mappings done, I think we're having a hard time answering any specific questions because of the way eLumen aggregates data. If we had a different software package, this would maybe not be necessary, but I think it would still be a good idea. I think we should start with a question and then figure out how to answer it instead of starting out with a pile of data and then trying to formulate a question that it makes sense to apply our data to. So other things, I am not hugely happy with the demonstrate knowledge So demonstrated knowledge, that one should say of. I'm not hugely happy with that language. If you have better language for this, that would be great. If anybody wants to offer suggestions for tweaking language in these, that would also be great. I'm going to email this stuff out to everyone. The 6 C's are set. They went through college council, and so they're kind of adopted. If you want to add a 7th one for some reason, a compelling argument could possibly be made. I hope this addresses questions. The next time you'll see this is in an email, probably right after this meeting. The next time you'll see this will be when you submit a course for some curriculum revision process or 5-year review or whatever. You'll get a little note from me or one of the wizards saying, hey, BT dubs, your course level outcomes don't match the suggested language. Here's suggested language. Maybe first start with picking out which of the ISLOs you intend to hit. So my first start is going to be to look at those 6 things, right? These 6 things. And that one should say and community. So I'm going to look at these 6 things, and I'm going to say, okay, so my Math 7, which doesn't exist, course is 2 units, and so I need to pick 2. And being a math course, it seems obvious that I should pick, of course, culture and community and communication. No, just kidding. I probably pick calculation and critical thinking because, yeah, creativity is not high over there. Oh shit, that's a good one, isn't it? Damn. Okay, we might have to add creativity as a C. I don't know. We'll talk. Okay, so hopefully this is addressed, whatever questions occur. If you need to get a hold of me, please email me. I'm more than happy to talk about this stuff. I do have resting both jerk face and jerk email tone. I promise I'm not actually angry. I just look this way and speak that way. Have a good day, guys.